All right, team, in this video, I want to talk about the live trader and how to set this up. So with the live trader, the primary focus that you want to look at here is, well, let's flip over to the account. When you go into the trading ATA bot section here, we'll just refresh this so you can see. And that is going to pull it down here. You're going to see an ATA when you scroll down to the bottom. It's called BotJock Live Trader. You're going to simply follow the same steps as you have before, and you're going to add this to gain access to the trader. Once you actually have that added to your account, you're going to see here it'll say BotJock Live Trader. So you can see we're actively doing it. Now, the one thing people tend to get confused when you use Live Trader, you can use a new exchange or you can just link it to the same exchange if you can make a second API. If you make the second API and you link it, just keep in mind, like you can see my Ultron here and my live trader here have the same exact trades open. The reason why is because both of them trade on futures. So it's going to show both. It's going to be a mirror, right? The key to this when you're understanding trading live trader is you do not want to trade live trader or set up a live trader on something that your ATA is actually currently running. You can see here I have no trades on BTC. And that is because I typically trade my live trader on BTC and I let my ATA work on all of my other trades. So you don't want to, for example, if I have an open trade here from my ATA on Ethereum, I don't want to come into live trader and set up a setting on Ethereum. This one's Aave that I highlighted over, but on Ethereum because of the fact that Ethereum, it already has existing trades, so it will conflict with that. It could potentially close the trade at a loss. So only trade one that you're not going to use. So I can leave it on here. It doesn't matter because I know what signals that I send to this chart. So we're going to go to TradingView. To add your live trader, I'll go ahead and take the off and save this. And whenever I take an indicator off, I always just reload it like that. I'm going to click on my indicator and buy only scripts. Then I'm going to come down to live trader. And we'll give this a quick moment to load up. Sometimes it's pretty quick, but there's a lot of information that has to load, so TradingView is processing that. So I'm going to do my test email, but you would put your BotJock email here that you're using for your account. This is super critical because if this is wrong, it will not execute, and your passphrase that you chose. And if you want to just do longs, you can just do one. If you want to do longs and shorts, just like the ATA, you have to do a second one. All right, now that we have the two indicators added to our chart, you can see them here. We're working on my BTC Live ATA. This is the one I use my live trader on. So we have the two indicators set up. So I always like to, mute the one I'm not working on, and let's take a look at the settings. So let's do a quick review on the settings. It's a very similar concept to the ATA trader, but there's a few key areas you want to watch. Primarily, you can see here, you have the long and short, and you have the different pairs. The volume you actually pick yourself, so you want to make sure you understand volume and how that works, because this is going to be based on what you want to do for your account. I highly suggest that you start fairly small. If you don't understand volume, then look at the training video that talks about volume and what that means as far as how it trades. But typically, this is going to be, for example, BTC. If I'm trading at 1 BTC, then I'm basically trading at 22,422. Now, we always trade on 50x leverage on these ATAs for the futures trading. So if you take 22,422 and you divided it by 50, then but by putting in a 1 BTC trade, I'm actually risking $448 of my own. So if I have a $1,000 account, probably not smart because you're using quite a bit of your margin. So if I were to say put 0.1, right, that's going to move that over. Now I've turned that $448 risk trade into a $44 risk trade, which is not bad on a $1,000 account. You have plenty of room. To understand margin, I highly recommend check out the video that details on how margin and leverage works. But that will help you understand what volumes you should and should not be trading at. If you are not sure, ask in the room. If you go into the room and under the trading, you just say, "Hey, I have a $2,000 account. I'm running, ATAs on. I want to just kind of test this out. What's the lowest volume I can try on this one?" And we'll help you out. You choose your exchange. Big Get Futures is the only one that we have on this for now. This doesn't really matter because you're choosing your own pivots, so you can just leave that one how it is. Touch is the same thing as the other stuff. The only thing that's a little different is this part, your opening order, right, and the price. Everything else is the same. Take profits, your DCA, enable stop loss, all that's the same. So I want to talk about a little bit on this part here. What does this mean? So let's go ahead and hit OK. What this means is when you're using Live Trader, it's a little more advanced than the ATA because you're choosing where you want it to do its entry. So I'm going to choose a higher time frame. 15 minutes is what I do a lot of times, or even 1 hour. And what I'm going to do is delete that. I'm going to try to find a range. Where are we trading? Where do we find support? Where are we finding resistance? So you can see we found a little support here. We found good support here, right? And then we found some resistance somewhere in this level. We know we're in this level, so we're kind of right in the middle. So let's just say I am going to do some TA, and I'm going to make an assumption based on the data that I see, because we've had some good resistance along the way. Resistance is where it comes up and it cannot break it. And we also had resistance turn into good support around here, which then broke, which is likely to turn into good resistance. So I want to take this and look at it and go, all right, around 23.023, I would want to potentially take a short off of that rejection line. I don't want to do it right at that because the candle does need to go past it a little bit. So I'm going to want to say 22, maybe 950 would be my price for a short. Then I would come down to my long and I would say, okay, this was once resistance. We broke it and it added as really good support. So we probably want 22. We're going to come up just a little bit here. So 22,245. So how do we add that in? All we do is come to our long, and we're going to start the order. Now, anytime you start something new, you always have to change your date here. We're going to put today's date. On Live Trader, I typically do a little bit back, so I'm going to do 12 and then 00. As long as when you click this button, it doesn't actually hit that, then you're fine. So we said 22, 245, I think. 22, 245. That's the price that we want to enter. So I want to tell you a little bit about what that means. So I'm going to click that, and then I'm going to zoom in like this. And the reason why is I want to show you the line. You can see a little bit here. I'm going to pull that time back. If you ever can't see the line, guys, as long as it hasn't hit it yet, you can move this time back on Live Trader. It's not super sensitive like the other one. So let's move that back, and that'll expand that white line a little bit for you. There you go. So now you can see the white line. The white line is basically 22,240, which is what I put in as my value. That is what I have right here, 245 actually. So what does that mean? What this means is if these candles were to break this line down, it will not enter my trade. But if it happens to find support around this level and it happens to come back up, it would enter my trade. So let's give an example of how this would work. I'm going to move this yellow over to this side, and I want to show you how that would have worked. So we'll just say Saturday, March 4th at 7:30. This is how you can adjust the settings to test to see if you really understand how to manipulate these. So we're going to say 7:30, and we'll see how that would have played out. And I want to show you, notice how our line is here. The candles broke down, but it did not enter your buy until it broke back in your favor. And look how it would have got out really quick, right? You would have made a nice quick win just from that. So that is why the power of our Live Trader ATA is if this were to continue down, it would never enter that long. It would have never entered it. You would never have taken that trade and you would have been safe. Now, if this comes back and it enters this and it doesn't hit your profit, we still have a DCA protocol, which is this white line that you see kind of forming right here. And that is based off of these settings. So I have it set to 0.9%. It's going to do its first DCA. What does that mean? After it crosses this line, if the trade goes against it, just like the other protocols, once it gets past it, now the difference here is it won't wait until it comes back up, but it will wait until there's some type of bullish turn anywhere past this. This is like the green light go for the ATA. It basically says, okay, you passed the line. We're going to give you the power to make that decision of when to make that dollar cost average. It may make it right here. It may make it all the way down here, right? It just depends. So we have that at 0.9. Now, if I want to increase that, I can put it at 1.5, click anywhere in this black and it'll move. And you're going to see how it moved down here. So if you want that to be down lower based on TA that you're doing, like for example, let's say you identify, we might have another retest here. So you want this white line to be slightly above that. That is how you would modify this DCA zone. So we may want to make it, let's say 1.2. And let's see where it takes this little white hash. Now it moved it up to here, right? So we may be okay with that because if it breaks down here, we know it has a good bounce. That would be a great DCA zone, right? So this is how you kind of modify that DCA zone through that protocol. Same way that we do the ATA traders, that part is very similar. Now, if I want this to continue to take trades, what I would do, let's say I want to keep playing this range. All I have to do is uncheck this box. What that means is every single time that this, see how the line extended? Every time that it crosses down like this and back up after a candle closes. See, here it won't do it because of the wick. See the wick, it was too fast. But if a candle closes below this and crosses back up, it will do it again. Sometimes if I'm watching it, I will trade that range. But sometimes, I don't like to just trade that one specific range. I just like to get in, get one trade, and get out. So you can just click that. It will take one trade. You're out. Then you can reassess and modify your entries. The take profit zone is the same. This means that it will take profit at 0.25% movement from the time I entered it. So we entered it at 22,245. It has to at least get 0.25% higher than that opening price for it to even have the ability to try to close it. And you can modify that too as well. So let's say if I were to change this one to 0.5 and this one, we'll just put 0.7. Notice how that changed it because now it didn't let it take it on this fake out. It waited till here. Well, the take profit allowed it to keep running because it never pulled back. And then it took it right here. So it ended up a larger profit trade. So if you're very confident that we're in a low range and your long is going to play out, you can actually increase these take profit zones to take a bigger win, right? But remember, the more you move these take profit zones, the higher potential risk that you have. So 0.25 is the default as far as securing profits. So those are how we set those up, but these can be modified to suit however you want to trade. So again, let's just recap this real fast. The shorts are done the same exact way. The time and date that you put is basically going to be towards the end where you're starting it. You can put it wherever you want. However, don't put it in a zone like this where it already hit that price, because if it throws this buy and it throws this sell and you have it on one trade, it will never do it again. It's not going to initiate another one. So in order to get this to be cleared, I would have to move this yellow past this drop down here. So if I were to change this to a 9 and I change this to a 5, you'll see it'll move my yellow on the other side of it, and now that trade is gone. And it's just waiting. It's going to sit here and wait until it initiates that trade. So that is how I would set this up. Now I have this open and ready to go. there's many ways you can trade this. You don't have to use this strategy. You can say, if it breaks this threshold, I want to take a long. If it breaks this threshold, I want to take a short. I like to play the iron condor, which is if it comes down and comes back up, it'll take my long. If it goes up, comes down, it'll take my short. Tends to be a little bit more accurate, a little safer. But if you're experienced in your trading, you can really set those lines wherever you want. Just know that it will never take a long unless it's crossing in the direction that you want. So if I take a long and I put this line above it, the moment it crosses above it, it's going to take that long, right? If I set a short and I set it below it, the moment it crosses below it, it's going to take that short. So just keep that in mind. So again, to do it in a quicker fashion here, to set up the short, I would do short BTC 0.1. That doesn't matter. I want to start my trade at 2023. I want to show you how quickly these can be set up once you understand it and you're going through the same exact steps. So we're just going to do 9. Doesn't matter again because I know it hasn't hit. We chose 22,950 as our short and we hit OK. And that's how quickly I can set up this range. And you're going to see I will get a line that populates on the top here. If you ever wonder if it's working, as long as this eyeball is turned in, that means it's thinking. So we'll give that a second to populate. All right, and now the beauty is until I set my alert, it doesn't matter what time frame I'm on. Now remember, this is a key area though. If I build it on the 15-minute and I set my alert on the 15-minute, it will not trigger until that 15-minute candle closes because you're setting it based on that time frame of close. So although I build this on the 15-minute, I always go back to my 1-minute because I want it to close quickly if I do get in profit, right? I'll always go back to my 1-minute before I execute that. Oh, it's way up here. That's why I'm like, where is my? Nope, there you go. What did I mess up on my short? Let's check it out. Before I set my alert. Oh, there it goes. It was still processing. Okay. Now I'm like, what did I mess up here? All right. So we got the short ready. The long is ready. So we know we're good. And there's our line. 22,950, exactly where I put it. So if I'm ready to go, what this will do is if it goes down below and comes up, it'll take a long. If it goes up and then comes down, it will take a short. If you don't like this range, looking at it, you're thinking, man, that's just way too high. I don't want that to take that long. You just modify it into the gear, drag this over, and then just pull this down to wherever you want by just changing this price. So let's say we do 22,750. I recommend trusting your instincts and your TA, but see, that will pull the price down here once this loads. It's thinking. You got the little eyeball there. A lot of information to process, guys, so just be patient with it when it does go. We're at the mercy of the speed of TradingView and processing the code that we have in there. But you can see that it moved it down. So if I hit OK now, I basically told it if it goes up and down in this line, it will take a short. Down and up, it will take a long. Once I have built my canvas, setting the alerts the same way. You just set the alert, you come down, you choose your condition, set the long, set the short. You would name it, whatever you want to name it. You do have to go to notifications. You will have to take out your webhook and put in the proper webhook. So you can find the proper webhook by simply going back to your account, and you can see here, View Live Trader. And there's my webhook. So I would copy this one, and I would paste it here. And now my webhook's correct. I name it, and I hit create. Then I just do the same exact thing on the short. So when you go into alert, these are just identifying the indicators. You'd have to create one for your alert for your long, one alert for your short, and you hit create, right? Then once you hit create, you're going to notice they're over here. I recommend keeping them organized. When you come in to create your alert and you're choosing your name, try to choose something that's going to make you remember it. I like to title my spot ones ATA Spot BTC, right? Or I like to title my live trader ATA Live, or I'll just say ATA BTC Short, or this is long Live Trader. So that way, once I create the alert and I come over to here, I know what it actually is called. What is it? Which one am I deleting? I don't have to guess. Because as they execute, you may have to remove that alert when you modify these settings. So just keep it really organized. If you are fairly new, you're still lost on understanding a lot of what I just did, please visit the training that says understanding the 3 basics of TradingView. In that video, I talk about what the alerts are, why you're setting them, what the alert indicators are, why you're setting them, how to fix them, and I talk about the overall layouts, what these really are, and how to modify those. So if you cannot grasp those 3 things, you are going to have a very difficult time through this process. Once you can understand what a layout is, what an indicator is, and what an alert is, the rest of it will be super easy for you. So I hope that helps you understand how to use the live trader, how to modify these take profits. This is literally the only way I trade. I have not executed a trade on my exchange in quite some time. It is just so much better doing it this way. I have not lost a trade in a very long time from my live trader versus when I'm actually trading myself, because you take the emotion out. You're setting these based on TA. You log out. When I'm done and I set my alert and I'm ready to roll, I close this and I don't look at it again until it fires. Something fires, right? Or I do my reassessment later in the day. I may pull it up, look at it, say, okay, nothing's fired yet, let it go, right? But you don't want to have the emotion of staring at your chart, because that typically is what gets you in trouble. So again, I hope that helps you out on understanding Live Trader. And if you have any further questions, please reach out, support@botjock.com or inside our community.